Hey, what's up, guys? So, about a week ago, Escort officially announced their new Max CI 360 radar detector and laser jamming system. And now that they've announced it, we've got a lot more good information about it. Now, I've done a video about it actually initially before it was officially announced based on this kind of a pre-release info that we saw online. There was some really good information here, but now we've actually got some more information, and some of the kind of speculation that I did turns out the detector is better than I thought. And so I want to go ahead and give you guys some updated and even corrected info on what this guy is actually looking like. And in short, it looks like it very well may be one of the very best radar detector and laser jammer combinations available in the market. This guy is looking actually pretty interesting. And what you're looking at here is a complete package for your car, a custom installed remote mount radar detector. It's kind of an update to the 9500 CI, which is Escort's current custom installed detector. And what you're looking at, you're going to have front and rear radar detector, front and rear laser jammers as well, and some really interesting stuff going on under the hood. So let's take a look as far as what we should expect in terms of performance, filtering, price, comparison with other detectors, etc. Now, as far as the features and whatnot, this is pretty interesting. So with the 9500 CI, we had an M3 detector, right? Great performance, awesome long-range performance. This guy is basically going to be kind of that same platform, but an evolution on that. You see what they're doing here with the new one, this is really interesting. In the front, we've got an all-new radar detector receiver. It's kind of based on the M3's dual horn design, and it's also going to be adding the blind spot filtering capabilities that they're adding in with the Max. If you take a look here at this picture, it's kind of tough to see, but the new antenna actually looks a little bit different. So we've got a new front-facing antenna. The rear antenna is also updated, but it looks like it's not going to be exactly as sophisticated as the front one. It's an updated M3 as well, with the IVT, the in-vehicle technology, the blind spot filtering effectively. And another note is that the front and rear radar detectors are completely stealth, just like the M3. So it looks like it's kind of an evolution of the M3, which is awesome. In terms of performance, it looks like, they're advertising it's going to have a great range, which actually does make sense because the M3s, the 9500 Ci, SDR Plus were awesome in this respect, and this looks like it's going to be an improvement. In terms of the blind spot filtering, of course, they're saying that it's going to be the best in terms of eliminating blind spot falses. We'll have to see for sure. One thing that we've seen with the previous generation IVT, with the Max 2, Max 360, is there were other detectors, quite frankly, that were better. Now, as far as this new one with the Max CI and the Max CI 360, it's not actually the same hardware as what they've got in the Max 360. So the software is different, and the BSM filtering should actually be improved, which is great with what they've got with the current Max 360, and it looks like they're going to be bringing those updates back to the current windshield mount detectors as well. So we should see even better BSM filtering than what we've got with the Max 360. Quick note, there's actually going to be two versions of this detector. You've got the Max CI 360, which is basically front and rear protection, right? So you've got front and rear, and there's also going to be a front-only version called the Max CI. So not the CI 360, just the regular Max CI, and that'll be the front version only, front antennas. As far as the laser jamming side, this is really interesting. They're saying that it should be able to jam the newest guns like the ones coming out from Dragon Eye. So this is really interesting. Currently, the only ones that can do that are the Anti-Laser Priority and the Stinger VIP. So it's good to see that Escort is going to be adding a more advanced laser jammer as well. Now, if you take a look actually at the design of the laser jammer heads, they actually look really similar to the Anti-Laser Priority and the Blinder HP905 Compact. It's the same kind of rounded design with the detector right here and the laser transmitter over on this side. So should be really interesting to see kind of what they've got in store here. A quick note about the laser jammer heads. One thing that they've mentioned is the new shifters. It's what Escort calls jammers. You're going to be able to mount them horizontally and vertically, which is really interesting, as opposed to the current ones, from ALP and whatnot, where you can only do it horizontally. So that'll give us more placement options, which should be pretty cool. Now, they'd actually had this at CES. I wasn't actually there at CES this year. I went to SEMA, but not CES. BRD actually he went there and he took a picture of their setup. So it's basically the same thing that we looked at here, right? Just kind of the in-person one. They had a picture of the setup and they had on display the controller and the display, but not the antennas or any of the underlying hardware itself. You couldn't see the radar detector or the laser jammers. They just had the controller and the display. So nobody's actually seen the actual detectors yet. So we're just kind of going off of this photo here. Something else to mention, they've got their ticket reimbursement guarantee. So if you do happen to be running the system and you get a ticket from radar or laser, just like with their Max 360 and some of the other detectors, they'll cover the cost of the ticket. Not any court costs or lawyer fees, or if your insurance happens to go up, that's not covered, but they will cover the cost of the ticket. Their warranty is actually going to be going up to 3 years, which is actually pretty awesome. That's longer than most other people who do 1 year. And then the red light camera database that's included, it's going to be free updates for 3 years. A couple other cool things to mention is if you take a look at the display, I actually like the fact that with the front and rear, you're going to have arrows here, just like the Max 360. You're going to be able to individually see the signal strength for the front and rear antennas. You can see your current speed right here. And then when you have it paired with your phone and you're running Escort Live, it can actually go into the cloud and see what the current speed limit is on the road that you're driving, and you'll be able to see those right here, just like the Max 2 or the Max 360, for example. So the same functionality. Bluetooth is going to be built into the detector. You don't have to purchase an external additional Escort Live module, and I'm sure it's going to be cross-platform for both iOS and Android, just like the Max 2 and Max 360 are. So looking really good there in that respect. Now, this is going to be a completely new system for the Max CI and the CI 360. For those of you guys who have a 9500 CI, for example, you're not going to be able to use any of the existing hardware in terms of the radar detector or laser jammer or the wiring. So if you have a 9500 CI, you're going to have to basically pull out the system completely and install a brand new system if you want to update. As far as updates, Escort traditionally has not been that good as far as updating their radar detectors and laser jammers, their remotes, for example. So I really, really hope they do a better job this time around, and that's definitely something to keep an eye out, once it is formally released. Now, there's going to be a standalone version of the laser jammers as well. So if you don't want to do the radar detectors, you're going to be able to do just the laser jammers. They haven't mentioned anything as far as a standalone radar detector if you don't also want the laser jammers. So hopefully they'll mention something about that, and that could be a cool option as well, but I don't know anything about a standalone radar detector right now. All right, so as far as Mrc D detection, the North American one, just like with the red lines, it will not have Mrc D detection, but for those of you guys who live in Europe, or if you drive up in Canada, you're going to want the international version to give you that Mrc D detection. And then just quickly mentioning the RDD immunity, you'll see right here that it is completely immune because it's based on the M3 platform. So for those of you guys who need a completely RDD immune detector, this one should offer that. So looks pretty interesting here, and I'm actually really excited about it. The more I learn about it, it seems really cool because of the fact that it may very well be one of the very best remote mount radar detector options that are available. Let's actually go ahead and talk about briefly how it compares to some of the other remote mount radar detectors. I actually just did a video recently going over all the different options from Escort, Beltronics, K40, Stinger, Anti-Laser Priority, Redenso, etc. If you're not actually familiar with the current remote mount options, you can go ahead and watch this video. Just click on the button on top of the screen. But let's go ahead and take a look actually at pricing to see how this guy compares. So with the Max CI, there's going to be two versions of it. You've got the front only Max CI. That's going to retail for $3,000. And if you want the Max CI 360 for front and rear protection, that's going to be $3,500. For the extra $500, I think that is definitely worth it. So if you're going to be looking at the system, that's probably the way to go. That's not a lot of cash for adding the whole back half of the car. So that I think is going to be the most popular option. But let's take a look actually at the pricing comparisons with the Max CI and the Max CI 360 with some of the other current kind of top best picks. So if we take a look at the ALP, if you want to get a set of ALP duals, so two laser jammers in the front, and you use the net radar up front, and then you add Bluetooth to give you the GPS lockouts, that's going to be $1,350. If you wanted to do a comparable K40 install with the RL200i and the diffuser optics with two laser jammers up in front, that's going to be $1,750. If you want to do the previous gen 9500 CI with an M3 and two Laser Shifter Pro laser jammers up front, that's going to be $2,000. If you want the Max CI, that's going to be $3,000. And then if you want to do the Stinger VIP with, they actually sell not two, but three laser jammers, and it's actually three transmitters and three receivers, so 6 heads, but a triple Stinger VIP is going to be $4,000. So that's for your front only setup. So you can see the Max CI is not the cheapest setup, but it's also not the most expensive. But what happens now if we want to take a look at the front and rear options? So let's go ahead and do that as well. The best price option, and actually one of my favorite ones up to this point, is going to be the Anti-Laser Priority, the quad. So two in the front, two in the rear, net radar front and rear, and then the Bluetooth to give you the GPS lockouts, that retails for $22.50. If you wanted to do the K40 option for the RL360i, called around for pricing. Typically K40 for the rear, they sell one license plate jammer, but if you wanted to do an equivalent install with two jammers in the back, two in the front, two in the rear, that they quoted me $3,000 for just the radar detector itself, not including installation. If you wanted to do this new Mrc 360, that's going to retail for $3,500. And then finally, if you wanted to go for the Stinger VIP with front and rear radar detectors, and then triple in the front laser and triple laser in the rear, that's going to be $6,700. So you can see we've got quite a variety there in terms of pricing as well. If we take a look back at the front-only options, the Mrc is more than double the price of the ALP and net radar. It should actually give you better range, better performance. You're going to get your GPS lockouts without having to rely on a phone. It's going to be completely RDD immune, and we'll have to see about blind spot falses. So there's definitely some benefits over that. And we'll have to see, of course, the laser jammer side. And it's going to be cheaper as expected than the Stinger VIP. Moving to the 360 options, front and rear. Again, it's going to be more expensive than the ALP. It's more than $1,000, over the net radar combination. As far as the Stinger, though, that's thousands of dollars less. So you're looking at almost half the price of the Stinger. So again, more expensive than some other ones, but less expensive than others. So that seems to be how it's going to be comparing in terms of price, in terms of performance and features. That's kind of the overall idea as well. I don't actually have one yet. It's going to be released in March is their closest kind of anticipated release date as far as when it's going to be available. And when it's available, I'll have more information. And of course, there's going to be testing and comparisons and all that good stuff. But in the meantime, this is an update as far as what we should expect in terms of performance, blind spot filtering, pricing, features, etc. So overall, I think it may very well be hitting the sweet spot of getting, really good performance, potentially really good blind spot filtering. You've got your GPS lockouts without requiring a phone. You've got your arrows. It's going to cost less than a Stinger. If the laser jammers can jam the Dragon Eyes and all the newer guns that are coming out, and they're going to be continue to update over time, this could actually be a very interesting radar detector. So I'm definitely excited to learn more about it. Good job by Escort, and yeah, this will be a fun one to keep an eye out once it is officially released. So cool. If you guys have any questions, I'll put some links in the video descriptions to all this kind of stuff, and also, where we've been discussing it online on RDF, a big, massive thread going on, 31 pages so far, so a lot of discussion here. You can take a look, and this is actually where we're discussing everything regarding this new radar detector. So anyways, more information to come as always. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this kind of stuff and you want to support, more videos coming out and testing and whatnot, you can go ahead and, subscribe, and you can also sign up for Patreon and help support me directly so I can continue doing these videos for you guys as well. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.